Hi, this is Carol Tiger again. I want to share some spring recipes that I have from Humbug's J again. It'll be fried pork, wild onions, and sweet potatoes. My first recipe is Aha Jumbi sweet potato. The ingredients for my sweet potatoes are 3 big sweet potatoes, 1½ cup of brown sugar, 2 sticks of cut butter, 1/4 cup of water. I use a 13x9 glass cake pan. As I get ready to slice my sweet potatoes, I wash them first, then slice them, and then I rewash them again. I also do this as like a side dish to get these ready for all my other items that get done at the same time. After I slice my sweet potatoes, I start putting my ingredients on top of the sweet potatoes with chunked butter, spread it out on top. Then I spread my brown sugar all over the top of that, and then I add my 1/4 cup of water, cover it with foil, and I bake it for at least 1.5 hours at 360. My next recipe is Soka Abiswa fried pork. To make my fried pork, the ingredients are a 3-pound pork roast, seasoned salt and pepper, 1/4 to 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. I prep my meat, the pork. I wash it off and I cut it into strips and I cut it into 1/4-inch chunks. The tip that I have is that buying the roast is a leaner meat and that it is a little bit cheaper. As I season the meat, I try to coat it evenly all through the meat. We're using 1 to 2 tablespoons of seasoned salt and pepper. My oil is on medium heat as I begin to put the meat in, 1 layer. I also turn the meat every few minutes so that the meat is well done. As the pork is getting done, I like to make sure that it's tender and no pink in it, and I also drain it off on paper towels. And this 3-pound roast will serve 4 to 6 people. Oil on medium heat. When the oil is almost sizzling, I slowly add the onions in oil and spread them out evenly to coat them in oil. After I have coated the onions with the oil, you can add your salt, which is about 1/2 tablespoon. Let it cook for 5 minutes before turning it in. Halfway through the cooking process, I usually wait until they get tender a little bit. Then you can add the oil from the pork that's already seasoned, like from salt meat or bacon grease. I cook the onions for about 15 minutes till they're real tender on medium heat, and then I whisk the eggs and then I add them to the onions. After I add the eggs, I keep stirring the eggs around all the onions. Make sure that it doesn't stay on one side. Just keep turning them over, and that'll take maybe a good 5 minutes. Just keep turning your eggs over till they're like a soft scrambled. As I finish up cooking up the wild onions and making sure that the eggs are done, and I also make sure that I take the onions and the eggs out of the pan and put it in another dish to make sure that the onions don't get hard and the eggs don't overcook. And I just hope you enjoy all these foods that I cook, and I just think that I hope you enjoy cooking it. It took me about 1.5 hours to do this. I just want to say that about our wild onions, that once a year that everyone looks forward to it. That's beginning the end of February to maybe early April, depending on how long that they're still growing. This helps a lot of the churches and the grounds to do funding for for their tribal towns. Anything that we need funding for, that's what they use that for. And everybody enjoys them. There's all kinds of wild onion dinners here and there at churches and tribal grounds, and we enjoy it because we get to visit with all of our fellow tribal members, and we just feel like that, it's a big fellowship for everyone. And we're so glad that our church is one of the main ones that has one every year. And we just feel like that it brings us all together. And I'm sure it does for other churches too. And I thank you for having these recipes that you might be able to use. Also too, I've known about it, and I've even taken my grandchildren out to hunt wild onions, and it was a fun day for them. And ever since then, we've always tried to make sure that we have it on hand for my family. And we think that with them learning how to eat wild onions, that they'll always enjoy it. And I just feel like that any of the other tribal members feel the same way when they're always picking onions, having a good time. And we still have an elder that still goes and picks wild onions. She wants to make sure she has them on hand, just like we do too. But thank you for watching, and I want to thank Zorro Library for sharing my recipes.